All right, we're going to get started. Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Tapping into Energy Efficiency Programming at the State and Local Levels. I'm Nora Lovren-Buehler with ICF International here on behalf of EPA's Energy Star program. During today's webinar, we will cover the current U.S. landscape for large-scale energy efficiency programming, the types of energy efficiency programs that are common by sector, and the national infrastructure for supporting these efforts available through the Energy Star program. Before we get started, I'd like to run through a couple of logistics. First, today's webinar is being recorded so that it can be made available at a later time. Second, all lines will remain on mute for the duration of the webinar. We will be conducting 2 Q&A sessions. After the first segment, we will pause to answer a few questions related to your specific state or region. And at the end of the session, we will also reserve time for more general questions. Please enter your questions at any time into the question/chat window. We'll try to address as many questions as we can. However, due to the large number of participants on today's call, we may not be able to address all questions during the session. Your regional account manager will be able to follow up to address any unanswered questions. And lastly, we'll be posting some audience participation questions throughout the webinar, similar to the questions that will be posted right now. Okay, which category does your organization fall under? A federal, state, county, or city government? My organization supports or implements clean energy programs. I conduct research on clean energy programs and policies, or other. If the answer is other, please submit a response into the question or chat area. Okay, and then for the second question, one moment. What region is your organization located in? Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, Southwest, Midwest, or West? Okay, great. Now we'll return to slides. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to enter them into the question chat section located within your control panel at the right of the screen. If you're having any logistical problems, let us know either in that section or by emailing my colleague Carly Burke at carly.burke@icfi.com. All right. Today we'll be hearing from 4 Energy Star program team members. First we have Ann Bailey, who manages EPA's Energy Star Products program, and she will provide a brief introduction. Next, we have Maureen McNamara, who for the past 15 years has worked with utility and state energy efficiency programs across the nation to advance energy efficiency programming, best practices, and related Energy Star offerings. She will provide a review of the current U.S. landscape for energy efficiency. Jonathan Tass manages EPA's Energy Star residential branch. In this role, he oversees EPA's efforts to promote energy efficiency in the new home construction and home improvement markets. He's supported EPA's voluntary program for more than 25 years. And last but not least, we have Tracy Narrow, who has worked over 20 years at EPA on numerous domestic and international energy efficiency programs. He is currently responsible for Energy Star partnership work with program administrators and service providers in the commercial and industrial sectors. With that, I'll turn the webinar over to Ann.
Great, thanks. And thank you all for taking the time to join our call today. As you heard in the introduction, all of those of us that you'll hear from today work on the Energy Star program. And if you're familiar with Energy Star, you may think of us as the people behind the label on appliances or homes or buildings, or you may know us as a voluntary partnership program. But along with these things, we've been working for many years now to establish ourselves as a resource and a platform for energy efficiency programs throughout the country. And part of our mission is to make it easier and cheaper for others to run effective programs that deliver significant greenhouse gas emission reductions along with customer value in the form of lower energy bills. So this work means that we know a lot about the many different efficiency programs that are currently operating. And so today we hope to start to share some of that knowledge by providing an overview of the various types of energy efficiency programs along with a few real-world examples. We also want to give you a flavor for the support infrastructure that Energy Star has established and will continue to offer into the future. So it's a lot to cover, and I'm sure we'll only scratch the surface, but we will close with some contact information, and I encourage you to contact us if we can be of future assistance. And I'm going to turn it over to Maureen.
Great. Thanks, Ann. So throughout the U.S., states and utilities increasingly use energy efficiency programs to meet energy demand, in particular electric demand. Leading states such as Massachusetts and Vermont achieve energy savings of 1.5% or more each year. And these savings are cumulative, so the resource really becomes substantial over a 5 or 10-year horizon. There's lots of good efficiency program examples out there, but you'll see some common themes among some of the best programs in that they've gotten a lot more sophisticated and strategic about how they go to market. Historically, and we're talking 15 years or more ago, utilities would work in isolation. They might offer an incentive for a particular technology with limited input from the suppliers and retailers that supplied those products, and they would sometimes withdraw incentives abruptly. And this approach either had limited uptake or boom and bust cycles that would negatively affect the next round of programs. The industry has gotten a lot smarter about understanding markets and focusing the program resources on overcoming unique barriers, and a few of those are listed here on this slide. This really leads to a more sustained change in both the supply and the demand for efficiency, increasing the impact of the initial investments. So whether it's a commercial building program or a residential product program, you're going to find this common theme of integrated program elements designed to address specific barriers. So to give you an example of this, a program aimed at increasing the penetration of an energy-efficient dryer might have to work with manufacturers and retailers to ensure that there are available models that are meeting their criteria. They also offer rebates to overcome the first cost barrier, and they will have to educate all the various market actors and consumers about what is in it for them. There's also a significant link between the success of efficiency programs and the evolution of the supportive state and utility policies. And I just am highlighting one here that has some widespread traction, which is the Energy Efficiency Resource Standard. It's a specific energy savings target that a utility or other program administrator must meet through efficiency programs. The policies differ a little bit from state to state, but each has the intent of establishing sustainable long-term role for energy efficiency in the state's overall energy portfolio. They're typically set as multi-year targets. They can apply to electric or natural gas savings, and the targets might be 1 or 2% per year, or 20% cumulative savings by a horizon year like 2025. There are also state policies that pursue all cost-effective energy efficiency as a priority resource. So, there's some really good policies out there mandating a large percent of efficiency. This map shows you that as of October 2014, there were 24 states that had an energy efficiency resource standard or similar policy. So, how does this all really happen? Where does the money come from? How does it get run? So the largest programs throughout the country are typically investor-owned utility programs, and they are funded by customers, so either through charges that are wrapped into the customer's rate or some type of charge on the utility bill, maybe like 0.001 cent per kilowatt hour. While the primary funding source is customer-funded programs, there are administration by utilities and then also in some cases by a state or a nonprofit entity. Majority are investor-owned utilities, but Vermont, New York, Oregon, Wisconsin, Delaware, New Jersey, Maine, and DC all have all or a portion of their programs that are run by a non-utility organization. So I'll also note that in addition to the two policies that I mentioned beforehand, energy efficiency resource standards and all cost-effective energy efficiency, there are a host of other important policies that can help align the utility business model with the goal of treating energy efficiency as a resource. So I'm going to highlight that we have a new recently released Energy and Environment Guide to Action, and the URL is posted there. It's really a good resource, very layperson friendly for learning more about these policies. So I have been referring to this as an industry, and this chart is really a summary of why. Here's the trend in the electric and gas efficiency spending over the past 20 years, and you can see that ACEEE, the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy, estimates that the total energy efficiency program spending was $7.7 billion about in 2013, and I would say that the current levels are similar or slightly higher than that. So it's really a significant industry, and there's a whole host of contractors and folks that support energy efficiency. So there's resources available in the marketplace to go to market. And I just wanted to take a quick look also at this breakdown geographically. So you can see there's a variation. The color coding shows you where you have the most spending and the least spending. But, you know, in some places, California, Massachusetts, and New York, the spending is over $500 million per year. There's also significant funding in Connecticut, Florida, Maryland, Illinois, and others. So we understand that the most cost-effective approach to reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the power sector is one that builds on the policies and programs that are being operated in states already. Every state has some form of demand-side energy efficiency policy in place, and many already are really achieving significant reductions in electric demand. The U.S. Energy Information Agency collects data on that, and from 2012 data, so it would be even more now, California avoided more than 12% of its electricity demand with energy efficiency programs, and Minnesota avoided more than 13% of its demand. Nationwide, this can really add up to significant reductions in carbon dioxide emissions, and estimates from 2011 show that 75 million metric tons of CO2 were avoided. EPA has got a long history of supporting these efforts. As Ann mentioned, we've been working with this sector for 15 years, and we have 700 current partnerships across the country, and you'll see how that has grown over time as well. I think we cover 80% of U.S. households through those partnerships. And as I mentioned, most of the largest of these programs are funded by utility customers. And because of this, the Public Utility Commissions work to make sure that all customers have an equal opportunity to directly participate in them. So one of the things we're going to walk you through is what are these typical programs and what do they look like so that all customer segments are addressed. But first I'm going to turn it over to Nora and open up the line, or open up the opportunity for some questions.
Yeah, so far far, we have not received any questions online, but now would be a chance to write in any state or regional specific questions that you may have. I'll give it a few moments, see if questions come in. Okay. So it looks like if any of you are in the midst of typing, we can address your questions during a general Q&A session at the end. We'll just plow ahead then. But before we do, we're going to ask one audience participation question for the next section. Just to get a better sense of your top areas of interest. So please select your top 2 areas that you're most interested in hearing about today. We're not going to skip any slides, but if one area has a resounding level of interest, we may linger on that slide a little bit longer. So we'll give you a few minutes to answer. It looks like there is strong interest in residential retrofit and the commercial and industrial whole building areas. Followed by consumer products. All right, so with that in mind, we can move on to the next section.
Okay, great. Thank you for that feedback, and we'll try to make sure we spend a little more detailed time in some of these areas that you've highlighted as strongly of interest. So in the residential sector, this is Energy Star residential products, but also a host of non-Energy Star products that folks promote. But lighting and appliance programs have really been the bread and butter programs for decades. And in the near term, there are still really good savings opportunities. The education, incentives, and coordination with retailers and suppliers are key program elements. Getting incentive strategies right can really be a key factor to program success. So for lower cost items, for example, incentives might be targeted to retailers for merchandising and special price offers. And then the consumer direct incentives are more common for the larger ticket items. The programs can be launched quickly and in the market, delivering savings quite rapidly, in some cases in 6 to 12 months. So that's because there is this industry out there that has been supporting these kinds of programs for a long time. Highlighted on the slide here is an example from South Carolina Gas and Electric. It's from a few years back, so it was in the initial 1 or 2 years of its programs, and they were able to achieve 200,000 megawatt hours of savings on their Energy Star lighting and appliance program. In some parts of the country, these programs are also coordinated regionally, and really this is a great way to have more market power to influence and overcome key barriers. The example highlighted here is the Northeast Product Initiative, and you can see from the slide that many utilities and states are collaborating and together achieving really significant results. The Northeast Collaborative is not the only example of this. I would say the Pacific Northwest through the Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance is another great example of this.
Okay, hi everybody. This is John Pass again, the Energy Star Residential Branch, and I'm going to talk to you now about a couple of topics of residential interest, starting with energy efficient new homes. So newly constructed homes present a really great opportunity to make a real impact in the overall energy efficiency in the overall residential sector. Not only because these new homes are going to be around for the next 30 years or more, but also because after the home is built, it becomes much more expensive and much more difficult to get the same level of efficiency that you could have gotten from that building if you had built with efficiency in mind from the beginning. To get those higher levels of efficiency, you need to focus on whole homes and home systems, not just energy efficient products, though those are certainly important as well. So in this space, big energy efficiency wins really come from comprehensive building envelope and heating and cooling system improvements. In terms of what we see programs doing in this space, in the formative stages, we often see programs focusing on recruitment of builders into the program, as well as offering building science and energy efficiency-oriented training opportunities for those builders who may be new to these energy-efficient construction techniques, concepts, and practices. We also often see programs offer various types of financial incentives to help reduce builders' costs associated with higher efficiency products, adapting to those new construction practices, and paying for required third-party energy performance verification. Equally important is providing builders with resources to help them sell the value of energy efficiency to potential home buyers, especially when their sales representatives are more used to selling stainless steel appliances and bonus rooms versus energy efficiency features. We've also seen programs work with their builders to feed consumer demand for energy efficient housing through strategies like co-op advertising and signage that's used in construction sites. So in addition to the potential impact in the market rate sector of new construction, building energy efficiency into affordable housing can perhaps play an even more critical role. Affordable housing programs, along with programs for multifamily and manufactured homes that I'll be discussing in a moment, provide important benefits for often underserved markets and can help to ensure that all residential customers, regardless of their income level or dwelling type, have the opportunity to benefit directly from energy efficiency programming. As you can see from the slide here, many of the same programmatic strategies that I spoke about in the prior slide for market rate housing can also be successfully applied in the affordable housing sector, things like builder training and offering strategically placed incentives to encourage certain behaviors. But in this space, in addition, in the affordable housing sector, there are also great opportunities to work collaboratively with other players, such as state housing finance agencies, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, weatherization programs, and other local nonprofits who are involved in this sector. And we highlight one of those examples here on the right with the Houston Habitat for Humanity organization, which is one of a large number of Habitat affiliates across the country that are actively involved in building and offering energy efficient new construction for residents. Multifamily buildings are a really high growth area in the new construction marketplace, but ironically have been largely overlooked historically in terms of the opportunity to deliver really meaningful energy efficiency programs. So similar to single-family new homes that we spoke about a few slides ago, constructing multifamily buildings right the first time is very important and can offer significant savings over retrofitting those buildings later. These buildings are often around for a long time, even longer than single-family, and can be much more difficult and expensive to retrofit later due to both the building complexity and, of course, the number of residents that might be involved by doing a retrofit project later. The development timeline for multifamily projects, perhaps obviously, is usually longer than for single family, can be 2 to 5 years or more. And again, the buildings themselves are significantly more complex. And as a result, this can require different technical expertise and process management strategies than single family home programs. And since multifamily lies at the intersection of both the residential and commercial sectors, organizations offering programs in this space need to coordinate internally across offices that may not typically work together. So there are some challenges to working in this space. We find that multifamily programs often track the progress of a project through the construction stage of initial application, design, and completion. And programs may choose to have mid-project reviews or offer incentives at different stages in the development process or for incorporating specific components. So for example, in addition to completion of the building, a program might choose to incentivize at the design phase, the modeling phase, during inspection and verification, tenant education, and or benchmarking after the project is complete. I do want to take a second and also talk about retrofitting of existing multifamily buildings, as this does offer a very large opportunity for efficiency gains. Improving efficiency and performance often starts with a whole building performance assessment, which in turn leads to a comprehensive action plan. Programs can help to stimulate consumer demand for whole building upgrades through financial and other incentives, and can partner with trade allies to encourage the delivery of comprehensive services. Benchmarking can also be a useful strategy for both the assessment phase and for monitoring the impact of the improvements made to the building. Manufactured housing is another important sector of the residential market where there are potentially huge benefits to incorporating energy efficiency into the construction process. And the ability to have a more controlled process for incorporating efficiency within a factory environment makes this sector a great opportunity to get significant energy efficiency gains. There are relatively few sponsored efficiency programs that have been deployed to date for manufactured homes. And because manufacturing plants tend to be clustered into a limited number of states, this opportunity may not be right for many of you. However, if you are in a state where there are a number of manufactured housing plants, the sector is really ripe for getting big results. Typically in this sector, we've seen incentives focusing on buying down the increased wholesale cost of the production of the energy efficient homes at the manufacturing plant level. I do want to point out that there are some big changes coming down the road for the energy code to which manufactured homes are being built or will be built in the future. So make sure to keep up to date on those developments if you are considering developing a program for manufactured housing. And I'll wrap up my part of the presentation with a quick note about home improvement. So we could honestly spend an entire webinar just talking about the opportunities for high-value energy efficiency programs related to home improvement. And based on the results from the poll, we might want to look at doing a webinar down the road that may be more expansive for home improvement. But there are a number of different engagement strategies that can be employed here, ranging from just providing simple energy efficiency tips and guidance to consumers, to hosting local energy efficiency themed events, offering DIY home assessment tools, all the way up to implementing whole house energy efficiency programs that are delivered through specially trained home energy professionals. And I'm going to focus a little bit more on this last point. So for those programs, conducting an energy audit or energy assessment is typically the first step in delivering that comprehensive approach. These assessments usually include in-person interviews with the homeowner, as well as a systematic review of all of the energy systems of the home. We've seen many programs incorporating on-the-spot installation of low-hanging fruit efficiency improvements, such as high-efficiency light bulbs or low-flow shower heads. This helps to ensure that every audit engagement provides at least some energy savings, even if the homeowner chooses not to take more comprehensive actions. So homeowners typically receive a customized and ideally prioritized set of recommendations on possible efficiency improvements to help them make smart decisions about where they can get the best results. In programs like Home Performance with Energy Star, there's a particular emphasis on linking homeowners with home improvement contractors to help them get the work done, as well as a testing out step at the end of the process to make sure that the work gets done right. And with that, I will transfer over to Maureen.
Thanks, John. So in the commercial marketplace, again, a large bulk of the program offerings are centered around incentives for more efficient products. And depending on the product or the measure, there's a set rebate referred to as a prescriptive incentive. And regulators and programs typically agree to deem in advance how much energy efficiency credit can be taken. And of course, that's based on data, not just pulled out of a hat. For the larger, more complicated jobs, because there's so many interactive effects within a building between technologies, utilities typically provide spreadsheets with embedded algorithms in them for determining incentive payments and related savings claims. Programs are usually promoted with trade allies, and then advanced programs will actually target market by market segment. So the example highlighted here is California's program focused on commercial food service, which is actually a very intensive energy use space. And it's a coordinated statewide, includes some prescriptive rebates for Energy Star certified commercial food service equipment, but it also has other products and measures in their program. Tracy?
Great. To continue on our discussion of the commercial building sector, we're going to talk a bit about the opportunity to improve buildings overall in terms of their energy performance. And as we know, every building from the smallest school to the tallest skyscraper uses energy, which is most often generated from the burning of fossil fuels. In fact, nearly the 5 million buildings in the U.S. where we all work, play, and learn are responsible for about 20% of the nation's energy use and greenhouse gas emissions at a cost of over $100 billion a year. Within this building stock, there's great potential to save energy. EPA estimates that on average, about 30% of the energy consumed is wasted. Energy efficiency is the single largest way to eliminate this waste and in turn reduce emissions and improve the profitability of these buildings. In capturing this energy efficiency opportunity, as Maureen alluded to, the replacement of equipment or end-use technology will continue to have a central role. And this is where many of the well-established energy efficiency programs typically focus technical assessments, rebates, or other incentives. The ability to capture savings through these common programs, such as lighting upgrades in existing buildings, are well documented and proven. But in addition, new program approaches are emerging that enable the capture of additional savings. There's a growing recognition that buildings are complex systems in which individual subsystems such as lighting, air distribution, heating, and cooling interact. So today, a growing number of programs focus at the whole building level and promote approaches that support continuous energy improvement. Programs also are increasingly targeted specific business sectors in their design and include strategies to reach senior decision makers whose support is critical to enable projects to move forward. And there is increasing recognition that you can't manage what you don't measure. And to address this barrier, policies and programs around the country are using energy performance benchmarking to allow building owners and operators to get a handle on whether their buildings are energy hogs or running efficiently. In sync with these trends, utilities and other program administrators are exploring hybrid approaches where the full suite of their offerings, from energy audits to retro commissioning, prescriptive and custom incentives, can be brought to the table to, in a comprehensive way, advance their customers' energy savings goals. And in the program highlighted here is one of Consumers Energy, in which they use the Billing Performance with Energy Star program to engage the K-12 school sector. And they work with 16 school districts and 120 schools, and the success of the school pilot has now led consumers to expand this into other sectors.
I'm going to just interject real quick because we're trying to make sure that, given the breadth of the audience here, everybody understands the language that we're using. So Tracy used the word retrocommissioning. And the way to think about that is going back into a building and looking at the operation of the existing equipment and fine-tuning and making sure that it is really working to deliver the savings that are potentially there.
Great. And now we'll move along into commercial building transparency and improvement policies. These are policies most often embodied in local ordinances that complement many of the other energy efficiency programs in the commercial sector. And we're seeing a trend amongst municipalities in moving in this direction. Currently there are 14 cities, 1 county, and 2 states that have adopted some form of this policy. Certainly at the municipal level, the purpose of these laws could be summarized by a few points. In large cities, even with significant public transportation, buildings still account for 70% or more of the CO2 emissions and energy use in the city. Increased transparency of building performance it creates a better informed market in terms of understanding how well buildings are doing in terms of their energy use. And we think this information incentivizes improvements in both public and private buildings, and local governments are interested in this as a mechanism for creating clean growth in the clean energy job market. Recent ordinances include Montgomery County, Maryland, Atlanta, Georgia, Berkeley, California, Portland, Oregon, and Kansas City, Missouri. And we're seeing high compliance rates in the cities that are adopting these. For example, in Seattle, the compliance rate exceeded 90%. And to date, all of the jurisdictions that have implemented these types of laws have specified the use of the online benchmarking tool Portfolio Manager that EPA offers through its Energy Star program. So shifting from the commercial to the industrial sectors, we know that manufacturing is responsible for roughly about 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions in the U.S. And this sector is highly varied and diverse, ranging from oil refining to food processing. And it is also diverse in how energy is consumed. However, there are some key uses that sort of extend throughout the sector. Machine drives, it's seen in motors, pumps, and fans. Lighting and related systems are common electrical users in manufacturing plants. Machine drives account for half the electrical use in the United States manufacturing sector. And these have been the traditional targets for DSM programs and incentives. And EPA has worked with industry for many years and has seen that on average, once programs are put in place, plants can achieve 20% or more savings. Engaging industrial customers can be an involved process, and it's not uncommon for industry to believe that they are already very efficient. And in some jurisdictions, they are not required to participate directly in energy efficiency programs. At the national level, EPA Energy Star is working to build awareness of the value of energy efficiency and the value of taking a strategic approach to energy management. Our hope is that this awareness should create opportunities for programs and service and product vendors throughout the country to engage industry in their local markets. Again, at the national level, Energy Star engages industry by focusing on 24 specific industrial sectors, and this sort of sector approach is something we would encourage other programs to do and do throughout the country. In taking this approach, it allows programs to focus on specific barriers to the sector and help them understand some of the specific opportunities they have in the context of their industry, and understand sometimes for the first time what the opportunities are. And programs that do take advantage of linking to Energy Star can take advantage of one tool, which is the Challenge for Industry. And this is a simple mechanism where plants can set goals for improvement and create a motivation for participating in other local programs. And we have seen plants reduce their energy intensity by 20 to 30% by participation in this program. The Energy Trust of Oregon, which is the example highlighted here, leveraged the Energy Star Challenge for Industry to engage their customers, setting the goal of reducing energy by 10% within 5 years. And there was a significant magnitude of savings just from the 3 industrial plants highlighted here.
All right, so how does this all get counted? How are energy savings claimed? Basically, savings are claimed against baseline conditions. What would have happened without the program? And depending on what kind of program we're talking about, if it's a product-based, folks would define a baseline, either if there's a federal standard in place or based on local market conditions, whichever is more conservative. There are lots of different evaluation methods. They involve measurements such as end-use metering. There can be modeling. There can be billing analysis. I mentioned prescriptive incentives and deemed savings. That's for measures with good data and historical experience. So supported by, information about hours of use, how long the products last, et cetera. Large-scale consumption data analysis can be used as well. And really what the evaluation does is it delivers values with an associated level of certainty. Obviously, utilities are investing large dollars in commercial and industrial programs. If there's a specifically very large project, you're going to get a lot of on-site verification. And with some of the mass market programs, there'll be different levels of rigor. Always, at least best practice is to always have them done by an independent third party, not the organization delivering the program. And there's usually Public Utility Commission oversight associated with that. Sometimes Public Utility Commissions also will hire their own experts to review these evaluations. I'll just go ahead and answer one question. Somebody did ask about where we were getting the numbers on the slide. Those were provided by the partners. And so the way they would measure them is basically what I have alluded to here. And they're counting up either the impacts from modeling buildings and or looking at billing data, or counting the number of light bulbs that have been impacted by their program and developing them from there. All right. Okay, great. So one of the things that most effective energy efficiency programs have in common is that they leverage the significant infrastructure EPA has helped put in place over the past 20 years through the Energy Star program. So implementation costs are reduced at the regional and local level because of the many market barriers that EPA tackles at the national level. So for example, Energy Star product requirements offer a common definition of efficiency. They're regularly updated to make sure they remain relevant, so efficiency programs don't have to worry about how to specify efficiency. They don't have to worry about testing the efficient products they promote because the Energy Star program ensures that they are not only tested in a standardized way, but that testing is independently certified. The Energy Star label makes it easier for efficiency program sponsors to communicate to consumers about what they're asking them to do, namely to choose more efficient products. And because of the partnerships that Energy Star has with national retailers and manufacturers, efficiency program sponsors take on less responsibilities building supply and demand for efficient products.
In the commercial sector, as Tracy mentioned, EPA's Building Benchmarking Tool Portfolio Manager makes it easy for a range of different building types to track and manage their energy use on an ongoing basis. So, and all of this allows efficiency program sponsors to focus on other challenges specific to their market. Energy Star's portfolio of strategic investments cover the largest efficiency opportunities in our built environment: homes, home improvement, whole buildings and industrial facilities, and all major plug load products. In the residential sector, our platform offers a label for energy efficient new homes, as well as numerous tools and resources for improving the efficiency of existing homes. In the commercial and industrial sectors, we offer a national partnership program for benchmarking and upgrading buildings and plants, along with the Energy Star label for superior performance. And our products program covers more than 70 product categories with both residential and commercial applications. Energy Star is a communications platform efficiency programs leverage because of its brand strength. It's recognized by more than 85% of households, most of whom have a good understanding of its meaning. It's also a label that consumers trust. Of those who knowingly purchase an Energy Star product or home, 75% say that they are likely to recommend Energy Star to others.
So through the Energy Star program, EPA offers utilities and other efficiency program sponsors, many tools and resources. But one service that we provide is helping them understand energy investments as a portfolio, and what are the attributes of the programs that they are investing in. And this also ties back to the EMMV question, which stands for evaluation, measurement, and verification. When you think about an Energy Star certified light bulb, for example, the savings are regionally assured from the product itself for some degree, but where the product gets installed, how many hours of use may be more uncertain, and yet the opportunity is ubiquitous and incredibly low cost compared to some other efficiency programs. So lighting programs have also become somewhat turnkey. As I mentioned, there's a whole industry out there that can come in and has worked with the market for many years and get these kinds of programs up and running quickly. So you can get those savings fairly quickly, and the bulbs are going to last about 6 years. If you compare that with the attributes of an Energy Star certified home, the energy saving features are verified on-site, the physical address is known, but the program is more expensive to develop, and the opportunity is limited to new homes. So how quickly it delivers savings is going to depend a lot on economic conditions and local infrastructure. But that home is also going to last you 30 years or more. So we work with programs around the country to provide information based on what's really successful with other programs around the country, and our experience facilitating best practice exchange for many years. We also develop market insights for programs specifically. So it's not for the larger market, but it's definitely the lens of a program administrator. The example that's posted here is about data center energy use. It became a growing concern for utilities a number of years back because when a new data center comes into the market, it can sometimes consume the energy of a small power plant. So making sure that those data centers are operating as efficiently as possible is very important. And we developed a program guide working with national experts, which really characterized the opportunity, talked about who the market participants were, asked what the barriers were, and what strategies are working for programs around the country to overcome those barriers. And then finally, fun stuff is we also offer national campaigns to have all our partners be able to leverage the momentum of working together at the same time. I'm not going to go through the details of all of these campaigns, but under the Change the World Start with Energy Star campaign, I will highlight that we just recently had a very fun, very successful campaign called Flip Your Fridge to Energy Star, and it encouraged folks to replace their old refrigerator with an Energy Star model and then properly recycle it to make sure it comes off the grid. The promotion garnered great support from our partners, and we also worked with the Ellen DeGeneres Show to get great national attention and about nearly 1 billion consumer impressions from that. So it's really a fun way to get involved and really leverage other market actors, other market participants. And so when I talk about this networking opportunity, because we have partnerships with so many different kinds of entities across the country, really we're able to tap into their strengths, their resources, their perspectives on how to go to market. So, you know, in addition to the utility and state efficiency programs, we work with 2,500 retailers, 1,800 manufacturers, you know, nearly 6,000 home builders and commercial and industrial organizations, and lots of service and product providers throughout the nation. We have different ways that we facilitate partner networking, but one is annual partner meetings. So we have those for new homes and for products, and it brings all the folks together at the same time to network and discuss program strategies. Tracy?
Great. And a key resource in the commercial sector is the free online Energy Star Portfolio Manager tool. And I reference this in both the discussion of the commercial program design and as well as the benchmarking transparency mandate comments that I made earlier. And at its heart, the Portfolio Manager tool is two things. One is a management tool where businesses and institutions, organizations can organize their energy and water consumption data, track that over time, and it also provides a mechanism for them for their most high-performing buildings to apply for Energy Star certification, which is actually available for the top-performing buildings in the commercial sector. And it also is a metrics calculator, and a couple key forms of metrics that it provides. For every type of commercial building imaginable, you can get a basic benchmarking metric from Portfolio Manager, which is a measure of how intensively the building uses energy, and that's calculated by taking into account local weather, so it's weather normalized, as we would say. And then in addition to that, for many of the key commercial buildings, there is a 1 to 100 Energy Star score that's available. And this score allows for peer-to-peer comparison amongst office buildings, K-12 schools, big box retail, that allows them to understand how their building performs relative to similar buildings around the country that are conducting similar levels of business activity. And it provides that score on the basis of a very level playing field that's been created. So within Portfolio Manager, those metrics are available, and it does provide that basic platform for managing data. And to date, we have about 400,000 buildings nationwide tracking their energy use in roughly 80,000 individual accounts. And then in the industrial sector, we also wanted to make you aware of various assistance that's available. And all this is available at EnergyStar.gov/industry. And a lot of the information we provide to the market, to our partners, to the public, is based on the work we've done over the years with now nearly 800 corporate industrial partners, ranging from small industries to the largest industries. And we're constantly in a mode of in our engagements with them, trying to distill best practices and share those throughout the partnership. Just to touch on a few specific resources, Challenge for Industry, which I mentioned in the Efficient Industry section a little bit. There are a range of support resources for those who want to use that and as an element of local programming. One other thing we do in our sector-specific work is we develop energy guides, which highlights the opportunities that are available to save energy within specific sectors. So you could take a look at the list of on our website and look for industries that are prominent in your state or locality. And we, in general, have accumulated a lot of experience and insights about the manufacturing sector in our partnership work, and certainly in working with and recognizing some of our top partners and their accomplishments are listed here. 35% energy intensity reduction since 2002 by Toyota, Hanes Brands, 24% similar reduction since 2007. And we would be glad to arrange for networking opportunities or just basically share the kinds of good practices that we've witnessed in the program of our partners.
All right. So we do have a regional account management structure. It is contractor supported by ICF. So we encourage you, if you have questions about your region and would like more information about how energy efficiency is delivered, particularly through these ratepayer or consumer ratepayer funded programs, feel free to go ahead and email eeaccountmanager@icfi.com. My contact information is also listed, although I prefer to leverage the great support we have with our account managers, but feel free to contact me as well. And the other thing I would encourage you to do if you are using that account manager, just go ahead and put the state or region that you're located in, and that will get you to somebody who knows a lot about your state and region.